Okay, everyone, we are ready to begin. So, first, thank you for being here for our very first live session together for your very first class here at Los Angeles Film School. My name is Justin Hardy, and I'm one of the instructors for digital literacy. And I am joined today by Peter Francis, Jeremy Moore, and Jonathan Grandois, who are also instructors for digital literacy. So if you guys are here a little bit early, you probably heard some of my spiel, but I'll repeat it one more time. I'm going to be going through all of the lecture material today, so you're going to be hearing my wonderful voice for about an hour. I'm going to try to keep you for only an hour. If we go over, I do apologize, but we do have a lot of important material to cover today for your very first week. So we want to make sure that you guys are completely prepared for anything that comes your way. And just always know that we are here to assist you as your instructors. So what we're going to be doing today is going through a little bit of a housekeeping material in terms of what you can expect from digital literacy, in terms of what you're going to be covering overall, and then some of the particulars, and then some housekeeping information about reaching out with emails, staying communicative, making sure that you check the platform, and so on. We also have a slideshow about professionalism. So, cell phone goes off as I talk about professionalism. So we're going to cover that a little bit and just some some tips for success to make sure that you guys have your best foot forward when you start your online classes here at Los Angeles Film. So without further ado, let's go ahead and run through the agenda. So we're going to talk about go-to training sessions and how these live sessions work, and then how you're going to find this live session after the fact. So if you're not able to make it for some reason for the last session, you will be able to watch the recordings, which will be posted right underneath where you guys signed up for the session. So we're going to go over that a little bit later, but I do want you to know you will be able to view everything we covered today later on a YouTube link. So we're also going to cover the concept of digital literacy. So right now, I want you to put your thinking caps on and come up with some sort of definition in your own words for what you think digital literacy is. I don't want you to go to Google. I don't want you opening up a dictionary. I want your thoughts, your words on what you think the concept of digital literacy covers. And I want you to hold on to that. And I'm going to ask you for that in a couple of minutes. And I want you to throw them in the chat, and we're going to go ahead and review all those to see where you guys are at. And then we're going to go over some tips for succeeding in digital literacy and for your online courses overall. And then we're going to talk about the week one discussion post, the assignment, and some due dates that you guys want to keep in mind for this coming Sunday. All right, so this is the go-to training module that we're in right now. A lot of you have already interacted in chat. That's wonderful. So if there comes a point where you have a question for me in chat, and for some reason I don't happen to glance over and see it because I'm focused elsewhere or talking about something else, Peter, Jeremy, and Jonathan are more than happy to reply to any questions that you might have in chat in case I don't see them. Generally, I'm pretty good about answering chat questions in real time. I just kind of look over. But if I don't catch it, that doesn't mean I'm ignoring you. I'm just making sure that we're getting through the material in a timely manner. So they will get to you if I don't. If you need to speak to an instructor specifically for your section, you can contact them by changing who you're talking to. So right now we have entire audience selected. That's by default. But if you click that dialog box, you can select organizers only, which will be all of your instructors, or you can reach out to one of your individual classmates or your individual instructor in case you have a question that's specific that you don't want the entire chat to see for whatever reason. So you can talk to everyone, or you can talk to specific people while we're together here in the live session. So make use of that if you need to. Okay, so here's what I was asking you to hold on to. Now I want you guys to let go. What is digital literacy in your own words? Go ahead and relay that in the chat box. I'm going to read those responses out loud, and then we're going to kind of go over those. So Taylor says it's concepts on digital software as far as navigating, comprehension of programs, etc. That is absolutely true. That's part of it. What else do we have? Ryan says that it's understanding the world of digital learning. Angela says that it's understanding the digital world. I see some key terms here that we're repeating. Digital understanding from Eric. What else do we have here? I know you guys got something for me. Brett says that it's staying connected to the world via the internet. That is also part of it. We're collecting the whole definition here. Okay, so Walker says that it's learning how to effectively navigate around a computer slash across different platform softwares. Jana says that it's understanding the world of social media and connections. Quincy says that it's the tools to function in a digital world. We are getting there. What else do you guys have? We're building a building with these concepts here. Come on. David says that it's understanding the effective usage of digital. Whoa, here we go. Did devices. Pauletta says that it's communicating and putting out thoughts, products, and ideas in a digital format to share across platforms. Sergio says that it's knowing how to share information. Michael says that it's, oh my goodness, we are getting a deluge. This is absolutely wonderful. Okay, so I'm just going to pick out some that I can see here. Digital literacy, to him, which is Esteban, relates to the digital vocabulary and platform understandings through software. Lavelle says that it's understanding digital concepts related to the computer world. And Garrett says that it's the ability to read and acknowledge the digital world. Okay, thank you for the waterfall of wonderful answers. All of you are on point. Every single one of you is hitting the mark in terms of understanding the concepts of digital literacy. You're giving me bits and pieces, but together, all of your answers together cover the gamut. So let's go over some of those concepts. So it's knowing and learning your software. I certainly saw a little bit of that in your responses. It's becoming internet savvy. I'm certainly sure I saw some of that too. It's a conducting proper and professional research using your standard Google tools and also making use of database tools such as Google Scholar or EBSCOhost that you guys are going to be working on a little bit later this month. It's also excellent communication practices, which I also saw a lot of in your responses. And it's also creating a professional online presence. So digital literacy is not just one thing. As you guys have clearly stated in chat, you gave me a whole bunch of different answers that revolved around the same single concept. But digital literacy is not just one thing. It's a lot of things that come together to form a whole. And it's going to involve not just the digital realm, but who you are in your personal world, your real world self. So there's going to be a little bit of bleed once you start introducing those concepts of professionalism, performing that research, and doing your due diligence to make sure that the information that you're putting on the web and the information that you're digesting from the web is accurate, credible, believable, and usable. You want to make sure that you can use this information, right? So that is what digital literacy is in the nutshell, and that's what you can expect from us in terms of our instruction throughout the month. We're going to be breaking those concepts down into major chunks over the next 4 weeks, but that's going to be the overall experience that you guys can expect. And the fact that you gave me so many wonderful responses gives me an idea that you guys are going to be ready for when we hit you with these challenges. All right, so let's go ahead and move into some of the housekeeping things that we guys want you to keep in mind as you're pursuing your online degree here at LA Film. You definitely want to check your email at least twice a day. You probably heard mine just go off. I usually check my email every 15 minutes or so. I'm really, really obsessive about that. But you definitely want to keep your email messages professional, and you want to be proactive too. So what does being proactive mean? So say you get sick, or you've got an emergency, or you've got to go to an appointment, you've got a medical appointment, whatever the reason happens to be, as soon as you figure out that there might be a delay in your getting your assignments to us, or you may be turning in your work late, make sure that you reach out to us. Because if we know that there's some sort of issue, that there might be maybe an assignment that's turned in late, we can work with you. So as long as you open that line of communication with us, because we're going to be communicating with you, but if you have a problem and don't tell us, there's only so much we can do depending on when you let us know. But if you let us know as soon as you're able to get a hold of us, we can work with you, figure out a solution, and maybe we can provide an extension on an assignment so they have a little bit extra time to turn that in. But that's going to be something that's exceptional. So reach out to your instructor, let us know what's going on. If there's an emergency of some kind, we can definitely work with you, but you've got to keep us in the loop. Okay, so I'm going to be going over this a little bit more, but just briefly. Instructor comments and feedback on your discussion posts and your assignments are to help you succeed in the course. So we're not here to fail you. We're not here to mark down every little thing we see here. We want you to succeed at understanding these concepts and applying these concepts in a constructive way that relates to your chosen degree program. So if you're a music major, see if you can tailor all of the assignments we're offering this month to your music major. Or if you're an animation or a graphic designer, maybe you could tune all of your assignments and in theme towards your chosen degree program. Always think about how this can benefit you in your future chosen career. Also, you want to make sure that you contact support for any technical issues you have. Like if you're not able to log into your email, if you're not able to access the platform, or you're not able to submit your assignment, let us know, and then reach out to your advisor, and then reach out to technical support. We have a lot of that information available on the platform that I can show you. That's going to be under class resources and how to get support. So let's go ahead and take a preview of that so you can see what's up. So if we go to how to get support, we have information for online advising. So if you have a problem with your student email, you can use your Gmail account or other email account to reach out to advising. Just make sure that you have your student name and student number, of course, so that we know who you are and we can kind of get that going. We also have a phone number here. So if you want to put this in your phone or write this down, this will give you all of the information you need in order to get assistance in case anything happens with the website in terms of not being able to access your email or not being able to submit your files. Those are pretty important things. So we want to know about it and then reach out to technical support so that they can give you that assistance. So again, you definitely want to be proactive in case there are any issues. Now, this is about the instruction rubrics for both the discussion and the assignments. Make sure that you clearly read all of the instruction PDFs and rubrics. 9 times out of 10, if you've got a question, if you read far and long enough in the rubric or in the instructions, it will give you a clear answer to your question. But we are here in case any of those explanations are unclear or if you need a little bit of extra guidance. The instructions are not your end-all be-all. We don't want you to just consult them. Well, we are here to guide you and instruct you. But if you have any basic questions about the assignments, 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, they're going to be in the instructions somewhere. So we definitely ask that you hunt that out and understand the instructions clearly before you come to us with any general questions, because they're probably going to be answered. But if you have specific ones, specific questions, definitely reach out to us. Now, for your discussion posts that are going to be due each week, each initial post is going to be due on Wednesday, and your responses are due on Sunday of each week. So there's 2 parts to your discussion. So let's go ahead and knock this out ahead of time, because there's been a lot of you who've made your initial post in my particular section, and I've read all those, and I'm really happy to see your thoughts. But there's two parts to the discussion. We're going to go over this a little bit more specifically, but I want to hit this over and over again because it is a little strange if you've never dealt with it before. So Wednesday is going to be the initial post due date, Wednesday night at 11:59 Pacific time. That's when your initial post is due, where you answer the questions based on the topics presented in the instructions. Now, Sunday, a couple of days later, that's when your response to another student's initial post is due, where you kind of respond to their thoughts and give maybe some information or ask them some questions and create that sort of networking opportunity where you guys are creating a conversation and maybe thinking about working together in the future. So you never know where those conversations can lead. So we definitely want you to kind of start those conversations in the discussion posts. Now, this is an example of one of the rubrics. This is how we score you guys. So as you're working on your assignment, you can come over here, and in the instruction PDF, we do have a clear rubric of how we score you and what everything is weighted. So for relevance and thoroughness, just making sure that the required topics are responded to thoroughly in the discussion. The submission is thoughtful and demonstrates an in-depth understanding of the course material. So you're answering the topics and providing research, and you're giving really, really detailed answers. And the research meets the assignment requirements and is credible. So if you do cite your research is believable. You get it from a source that has a lot of credibility, and we can kind of trust where you got your information. And that's just going to help your point be more salient and solid. So these are the things that we're looking for: clarity and organization, whether or not your information is clear and organized. So if you have all of your thoughts organized clearly and we can understand your line of thinking, you're going to be okay there. And writing mechanics, this is a big one, guys. Make sure that you run spell check. Make sure that you run spell check. I'll say it one more time. Make sure that you guys run spell check on your assignments, because those are very easy points to gain, but they are also very easy points to lose if you're not careful. So we definitely highly encourage that you run through your assignment with a fine-tooth comb. Make sure that you cross those T's and dot those I's and capitalize your proper nouns and everything, just to make sure that you can maximize that writing mechanics score. And just going to get you closer to that A that we all want, right? So we also want you guys to start your assignments and research early. And if you have any questions about just in general, we have FAQs under the class resources tab, and that covers information about how to make screenshots and how to compress your files. So as you're working, again, don't be afraid to ask any questions, and I'm going to go ahead and show you what that class resources page looks like so you guys can see that. You probably have already seen this, but it's always good to see it again. So of course, we have information on how to make a screenshot with your Mac or your PC, how to compress a file with your Mac or PC, which is going to be very important for your assignment, which we're going to be going over very shortly. So having this information available at your fingertips is going to be super helpful. So you have this available to you as a tool. All right, so that is done. All right, we've got just a couple of more housekeeping things before we move on to talking about success, student success. Late assignments may be submitted up to 3 days late unless there's an emergency. So this is what I was talking about earlier. So if you find out that you maybe are not going to be able to turn your work in for whatever reason, if you want to give us a few reasons why you're not going to be able to turn your work in, that's okay, as long as it's something that can be verified. If you've got a medical note or some way of kind of just letting us know that there's some sort of paperwork involved if you're in the hospital, just to give us an idea of what's going on and how long you're going to be there, and so we can keep that line of communication open. Because we have had students in the past who were they were in the hospital, but they weren't able to get their work in on time because they left that line of communication open with us. They were in and out of consciousness, but they were able to get back to us, and they were able to turn their work in. So as long as you're open and communicative with us, we can work with you in case there's an emergency. Now, if there's not an emergency and you just happen to not turn your work in on Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. Pacific, each day late, say you turn your work in on Monday, that's going to be 10% off of your maximum score. So if you turn in your work on Monday and there's no emergency and your just work happens to be late, the most you can make on your assignment is a 90. If you turn in your work on a Tuesday, the most you can make is an 80. If you turn it in on Wednesday, the most you can make 70, and so on. If you turn your work in on Friday, it will not be graded. That is beyond the deadline for late work. Thursday night at 11:59 Pacific is the cutoff time for late work, and that's going to be 40% off the top of your grade. So it's better than a 0, but you definitely don't want to count on turning in your work late. Try to get it in early or on time. Now, if you turn in your work on early, conversely, if you turn it in your work really early, like I've got a couple of students who have turned in assignment work already. I've already graded one of them. He got a great score. If you turn in your work early and you want your professor to take a look at it, hey, I turned in my work. I think I've hit all the requirements based on the instructions in the rubric. Could you take a look and see if there's anything that I'm missing? And your instructor will definitely be happy to take a look. If there's anything missing, we'll let you know where in the rubric and where in the instructions that you might want to take another look so that you can develop your assignment to get that maximum score. So don't feel like you can't turn in your work early to have us take a look at it. Definitely don't wait till the last minute. And we definitely want you to keep a positive attitude and open mind during your time in digital literacy. This is a very early general education course before you guys get to the nitty gritty of your degree program. So these concepts that we're covering, these skills that we guys are going to impart to you are going to create a really strong foundation that will allow you to succeed in all of your future courses. So think of all the things that you want to do in your future courses, all of the beats you want to make, all of the graphic design that you want to get up to with logo design and font choices and color choices. All that stuff's coming, but this is going to give you a great foundation to be successful and consistently successful in all of those future courses that you really want to get to. So think of it as a foundational course that's going to allow you to have all the tools you need to succeed throughout the rest of your career here at LA Film School. Now, the knowledge quizzes are open book, and they're based on the read and view activity and the read and view articles and videos. Now, keep in mind that you can only take the quiz once. Once you hit the submit button at the very end, the score you get is the score you get. There's nothing I can do about that. There's nothing other instructors can do about that. That's why the quiz is open book. So if you want to go through the read and view activity, watch the read and view videos, read the articles as you're answering the quiz questions, by all means, go right ahead. That's what they're there for. But make sure that you understand that once you click submit, that's it. So definitely triple check your answers to make sure they're exactly what you want them to be. And of course, your quiz is due Sunday night at 11:59 Pacific time. But if you want to turn in your quiz before that, feel free to. You do not have to wait to the Sunday night deadline to turn in any of your work. We certainly don't recommend it. Turn it in as early as you can so we can take a second look. But you do have until Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. to take your open book quiz. And I am getting a lot of emails. I'm going to go ahead and close out of that because that is there's another one. Okay, sorry about that, guys. That should not happen anymore. That's kind of bothersome. All right, so the training sessions are Tuesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. If you're not able to make it to the live session, like I said at the very, very beginning, archived recordings will be available via YouTube, and this is going to be where they're posted. I'm going to zoom in here a little bit. So right below where you guys register for week 1, there's going to be a week 2 live session view video link. That's where we're going to post the YouTube link to the video of the session that's happening right now. So those of you in here right now, if you see any material that you're like, hey, I want to go back and watch that again. What did he say about this? This is going to be available to you, and you can kind of skim through the video, find what you're looking for, and then you'll be good. So if you do want to watch the whole thing again, in case you need a complete refresher, this is going to be available for the entire month. It's not going to be taken down or anything, so you'll always have access to it. All right, so let's go to the online student success keynote. So this is the pretty keynote I told you guys I was holding for you. All right, so student success. We were going to talk a little bit about how to be an successful online student. So I'm going to hop on my soapbox a little bit. So I hope you guys can bear with me for a little bit. This won't take too long. We do have a little bit more information to cover, but this is important for you guys to keep in mind because Peter, Jonathan, Jeremy, and I, we've seen a lot of students over the last couple of years, and there's a lot of hints and tips and experiences and messages from the students and conversations we have with our students that gives us a large font of wisdom to draw from in terms of giving you guys advice. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay, cool. So I think, Brett, you lost audio. If you can still hear me, or if you have audio again, just go ahead and close the session and come back in. But if everyone could hear me, I'm going to keep going. All right, cool. So here at Los Angeles Film, our online courses provide an excellent way for busy individuals such as yourselves to gain the expertise that you need in the careers of your dreams. And the path starts with understanding the skills necessary to succeed in an online environment. So the first thing you guys want to keep in mind is managing your time effectively. Now, there's 48 people in this session. We lead 48 different lives with probably a little bit of things in common. But the one thing we do all have in common is that we're all busy and that we all have a lot of things to do. So sometimes it's hard to find that time to sit down and take that time to go over your coursework, focus on your hobby, take some time for yourself, whatever it happens to be. So it's going to be really important for you guys to understand how to carve out that time for yourself so that you have that sectioned off bit of time for nothing but schoolwork so that you guys can focus on making your dreams come true. So time management, of course, is one of the most important factors when it comes to thriving in an online learning environment. Since this is really free form and you guys can kind of come and go from the classroom, so to speak, it's going to be up to you to manage your time so that you're not waiting to the last minute to get your work turned in, that you're reaching out to us as your instructors in case anything comes up, because a lot of this is going to be on you to make it happen. So make sure that you do keep track of your time and keep track of your days so that you give yourself ample time to work on your work so you're not rushing out on material that isn't the best work that you could have come up with. So being proactive about your online coursework, giving yourself time to complete your work, and finding the best time of day to work on your assignments is key. So treat that time like an everyday appointment for accomplishing your dreams. Okay? Treat that time like an everyday appointment for accomplishing your dreams, because that's what this is. Carve out that time. If it's an hour a day, it's an hour a day. If it's 30 minutes, it's 30 minutes. Just make sure that you set it for yourself and make sure that you use that time. And that's also going to involve another factor, which is finding the perfect workspace. So knowing where you work best is just as important as finding the time to complete your best work, right? So consider the kind of environment that you study best in. Right now, I have a really nice workstation and a nice desktop with multiple computers, and I work best in dead silence. Like I like to use music as a break or as kind of like something. If I'm getting up and moving around and stretching, I'll listen to some music. But otherwise, I like dead silence when I'm working on my artwork or when I'm working on grading or anything like that. For some people, that would drive them up the wall. So you've definitely got to find what works best for you. So after you've carved out that time and you've got your space to yourself, how are you going to balance your personal obligations with your schoolwork? So that's the big question, right? So taking an online course allows you to complete the learning material and assignments at your own pace, like I said a little bit earlier. So it's going to be kind of up to you to make sure that this moves forward. So if you have a full-time job, if you travel often, if you have a family, balancing those obligations can be a real challenge, right? It's going to be hard to kind of carve that time out if you've got a bunch of kids running around the house, or if you've got a teenager that has their homework to do too. So whatever your situation has to be, it is, make sure that you are able to balance those personal obligations so that you're not making too many sacrifices in too many different directions, right? So consider your schedule and try to set your study time around or during your downtime. So we all try to kind of carve out that downtime for ourselves, whether it's right after we get home from work, or if we happen to get up early and we've got maybe an hour or two before we're supposed to leave from work. Maybe that's your downtime where you kind of you wake up at 6 a.m. and you've got until 7 to kind of do your Zen sort of meditation where you're kind of balancing yourself. Maybe that's a good time for your schoolwork. Or maybe an hour before bed is a good time for your schoolwork. Or maybe your lunch hour at work is a good time for your schoolwork. So it's going to be up to you to kind of determine where you want to carve that time out. But you definitely don't want to make too many sacrifices with your personal life, because we do here understand at LA Film that each and every one of you are busy individuals. That's why you're taking an online degree. But we do want to make sure that you adhere to the late policy, that you are turning in your work on time and delivering that good, really impressive material on or before the due date. So definitely find the balancing act you need to succeed in the course. And one of the best ways to do that is to get an early start. So getting an early start on your work is a great way to get ahead. So if a project is in depth and requires research, because we do have a little bit of that going on in our course here, we want to make sure that you give yourself that time throughout the week to develop your projects. You definitely don't want to wait to the very last minute, because as your instructors, we can all tell if you don't spend time on your assignments and deliver your best work. So you definitely want to give yourself time to do that. So maybe set aside an hour, 30 minutes per night to work on your assignments. And by the time you reach the due date, your assignments are going to be right as rain, especially if you reach out to us, if you have anything about your assignment that's unclear, or if you've got something about your submission that you're not 100% confident on. Go ahead and submit that. Ask your instructor to take a look. We will point you in the right direction so that you can make those adjustments, and then you can resubmit again and we'll take another look for you. So don't ever feel like you're just stumbling in the dark or guessing. You can always know where you stand with us as long as you reach out to us. So definitely get an early start on your work, figure out and identify those aspects of the assignment that might be giving you a challenge, if any, and make sure you reach out to your instructor so that we can give you that assistance so that when the due date rolls around, you are on easy street when it comes time to submit it. You never want to wait till the last minute. So, understanding and implementing feedback. So I mentioned this a little bit earlier when we were talking about housekeeping and sort of general digital literacy things. So your instructors provide feedback for your assignments in addition to a numerical grade. So you're never going to ever guess about why your score is the way it is. Some of us will break down your score a little bit more in depth about, okay, so your content is 60 out of 60, but here's how that breaks down based on what I maybe have deducted. Or if your writing mechanics aren't up to snuff and you didn't run spell check, we're going to make a note of why we took those points away. Or if your content isn't where it needs to be, we're going to let you know exactly why that might be so. So you're never going to be in the dark about why your grade is the way it is. This feedback is meant to guide you for your future assignments so that you're more and more successful as you proceed each week through each of your courses. So the expectations that we outline in the rubric, you get your feedback, you get a great score, make sure you keep doing what you're doing, don't deviate, you're doing a great job. But if you say maybe you get a 90 or an 85 or an 80, maybe there's a couple of growth edges that you want to consider and focus on for your next submission, because you obviously have a strong submission, but there's just a couple of things that you want to adjust so that you can maximize that score. And then as you learn that process and understand our feedback and what our expectations are, your assignments are going to get better and better and better. And by the time you leave our course, you're going to have a greater understanding of how your instructor is going to be assessing you based on what we're looking for the instructions and how we are going to be assessing you in terms of the numeric score and the reasons why we give you the numeric score. If you have any sort of questions about your grade or if the assessment is unclear, please reach out to your instructor. We are more than happy to explain our assessments and give you the reasons why. If you require more information beyond what we provide in the feedback, we are more than happy to provide that information for you. And this is going to come back around to what I've been kind of reiterating over and over throughout our time together for the first 34 minutes. Ask questions if you have them, and you want to consider proactive communication when reaching out to your instructors. So be sure to be proactive when communicating with your instructors and your advisors. We're always ready and eager to assist you in any way we can with your assignments in case you have any questions. And we're here to give you the tools you need to succeed. You are not alone in this process. We're here for you. So make sure that you utilize us as a part of your process for growth here. It really is, Alicia. Communication is the key to success. And now the last slide here I've got for you, this is kind of the major takeaway from everything that I've covered in this particular slideshow, is maximizing your effort and maintaining good study habits. So completing an online degree requires dedication to time management, balancing your personal obligations, and putting forth your best effort for each discussion, assignment, and quiz each week. And this is going to lead to an easier transition from successful student to successful entertainment professional. If you're able to take the instructions and follow them and deliver a product to your boss, your instructor, and we check off your work and say everything is good, and you get that 95 or 100% score, that lets you know that you covered all the concepts, you completely understood what we were looking for, you were able to deliver what we were looking for, and you did so successfully before the due date. So those are all really important skills to have when you're a working professional, right? When they're paying you those big six-figure amounts, they're looking to you to be reliable and responsible. So you definitely want to start somewhere, correct? This is where you're going to start. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay, so Dustin said that the audio stopped. Okay, cool. Just making sure. But that is the end of my spiel about being a successful online student. I hope you guys take some of this information to heart. We are here to ensure your success. And all of this information that I covered is not just going to be what you hear from me one time. All of your instructors throughout your time here at LA Film School are going to be reiterating a lot of these concepts over and over again, if not in material, but in spirit. So they're always going to be looking for you to manage your time. They're always going to be looking for you to balance your personal obligations and to give that best effort so that you can achieve your dreams, because that's what we're here for, to help you. So make sure that you use us in that capacity. All right, guys. So that is me on my soapbox. I'm going to hop down now. And now let's go ahead and talk about the meat and potatoes of why we're here today. We're going to talk about the discussion, cover the topics, go over the submission requirements for the discussion in depth. And then we're going to talk about the assignment and do a small guided tour through the assignment and show you guys an example of what we're looking for. All right. So let's go ahead and pivot a little bit. All right, here. So we've got our instructions. Let's go ahead and make that a little bit easier to read. All right, here. So here is the information for your discussion. Now, I've had quite a few students in my class who have already submitted their initial post, and I've read through those. A lot of you have a lot of really good information about these topics. I'm really happy that you guys are getting a giant jump on getting your work done. So let's go over the basic overview for the discussion here and go through this information. So having a method of staying organized can help you with your personal and professional goals. So being highly organized is a critically important skill for professional success. A lot of you were talking about this in your initial posts. So modern digital tools such as Google Drive and other apps can give you the ability to compile and organize the information you need when you need it. And the best thing about Google Drive is that it is platform agnostic. You can use it on your phone, you can use it on your laptop, you can use it on your tablet. Anywhere you have access to the internet, you have access to Google Drive, no matter what device you're using. So that alone gives it a lot of utility. So this week's discussion topics address the ways that you can use various digital tools such as Google Drive to organize different aspects of your life. So here's how we want you to format your initial post. So we want you to share your thoughts on some of the questions below. Now, we don't ask, we don't have, you don't have to research anything for this particular post. It's going to be more so your individual thoughts. But if you do represent the thoughts, ideas, words, or images of others, make sure that you do give credit and cite your sources by indicating the author, the date, the title, and the website link where this information can be found. So you can definitely include information that you found on the web. Just definitely give us a citation for that and give us a link to click on so that we can maybe read through that ourselves if we want to kind of go down that rabbit hole and learn some new information. So we'd like you to share your thoughts on at least 3 of the following topics. So of the topics available here, go ahead and pick 3 out of this selection. So the first topic available is we'd like you to talk about your organizational habits. So what specific steps do you take to stay organized? And do you have any challenges with keeping organized? So that's the first topic. The second topic available to you is how do you organize and plan for specific events or tasks such as appointments, parties, assignments, projects, or other important dates? And the third topic is there anything you might want to change about your organizational habits? And if so, please explain those changes and some of the justifications for why you want to make those changes. The next topic is, do you already have experience in the entertainment industry? And does your job require a lot of multitasking? Because there are a few students in my course who have spoken about their experience in the entertainment industry, and all of their posts are multi-paragraphs long. They don't stay. They're always busy. They're constantly busy. So it's interesting to read some of those stories. Now, what kind of strategies do you use to stay organized in your career or in working on a project? Now, the next topic is, what are some of the goals that have driven you to begin your degree program? That's always important, right? Why are you here? So I would love to hear some of the thoughts about that. The next topic is, how do you plan to add LA Film School activities into your everyday organizational routine? Or if you don't have an organizational routine right now, how do you plan to start one? Because today's a really, really good day to start having an organizational routine. Day 2 is where you want to start if you haven't started on day 1, right? So the last topic available that we want you to pick from is what are some of the things that you'd like to know about the methods that your classmates use to stay organized? Now, we all have different ways of keeping our lives in check and making sure that we can stay sane in an otherwise crazy world. What are some of your strategies for staying organized in your daily life or at work or in your professional world that are really effective for you? Me personally, I write everything down twice. I will type it down once and then I will get my notebook and then write it down again because just knowing and remembering that I wrote something down or typed it helps me remember the content of the message. I kind of picture it in my head. It's a little weird, works for me, might not work for you. Something else is going to be a strategy that you're going to employ. But we would love to hear about that, some of those strategies that you guys use to stay organized. All right, so that is the discussion post. Are there any questions about the discussion post? So your due dates for that, let's go over that one more time, just to make sure that we are all clear on that, because we didn't hit that, but I want to make sure that we go over it specifically. So for your response post, you want to make sure that you respond to several of your classmates, two or more. And don't limit your reply to I agree or that's great or so forth. I'm kind of glad I went back and talked about this because you definitely want to avoid any sort of brief sentences. And the reason is this. So if you're in a conversation with someone and they're really in depth in conversation, you're getting a lot of good responses, but all of a sudden they say, that's a great, I agree, that's interesting. And you kind of look at them and then you keep talking and they say, yeah, uh-huh, I agree with you, but they don't provide any sort of opinions of their own, that conversation is going to get a little bit weird after a few minutes, right? Kind of talking to a brick wall. You don't want that situation online. You want to create a conversation where both of you are asking questions, you're exchanging ideas, you're exchanging a dialogue. You're not talking to a brick wall and you're not talking to the wind. Make sure that you create a conversation because, again, like I said earlier, you want to think about this as a networking opportunity. All of you are perhaps new to each other. You might not know each other very well, but all of you have skill sets that you want to develop and work on, and some of you are already working professionals. It is to your benefit to get to know each other and to start those networking opportunities right away because you never know where someone else's skill set might complement yours and you can create a collaboration and begin working together. Stranger things have happened. So always take those opportunities to reach out to your classmates. Excuse me. If you happen to see an interesting post where someone talks about something they've worked on in the past and you've got a comparable experience, share it. You never know where that conversation can lead you. So we really encourage you to create in-depth response posts to the students and your classmates that you choose to reply to. Always make it count. Okay, so the submission process. You want to make sure that you submit your initial post by 11:59 Wednesday night Pacific time. You want to submit your response post to another classmate by Sunday night at 11:59 Pacific time. And of course, here is the rubric that covers all of the material that we're looking for you to include in your discussion post. So we're looking for your content to be highly relevant. We're looking for your opinions and ideas to be expressed clearly and in an organized fashion. We're looking for you to respond to your classmates and contribute to the learning community. And we're looking for those writing mechanics. So again, we want you to check your spelling. We want you to run spell check on your submission just to make sure that you're catching all those major errors and any smaller ones as you read through your posts. So Kimyana, yes, you're going to be writing about 3 of the topics. You're going to be choosing from these topics here, 3, at least 3, and then commenting to at least 2 of your classmates. You have it correct. So Angela is asking, is it normal for discussion posts to expand past the due date due to late replies? Unfortunately, Angela, after the due date on Sunday night, there's no way to submit any sort of discussion posts after that fact. That discussion is then closed, and no further posts will be considered for feedback. So you definitely want to make sure that you get your discussion post in early. Replies are absolutely encouraged prior to the due date. You got it, Angela. And that goes for all of your discussions for each week. Okay, so that is the discussion post. We are running up against the clock, but we're going to go over the assignment here. And I'm also, even if we're running out of time, I want to make sure that we leave time open for questions at the very end. I'm glad I did. It's always a gamble sometimes when you see names you've never seen or pronounce names you've never seen before. I try to get it right the first time. Thank you. All right, so one of the best ways you can stay or manage a busy work or school schedule, excuse me, is to have a digital tool that can go with you anywhere. So we talked about Google Drive a little bit earlier. Here's where we're getting to the meat and potatoes of it. Google Drive is a well-known professional solution that helps you keep your daily life organized and gives you instant access to your files on the go. Let me tell you how beneficial Google Drive is, guys. When you sign up for a Gmail account, they give you 15 gigabytes of space, right? I have 7 Gmail accounts because Google Drive is that effective for me. I have everything partitioned out. I use a lot of data, unfortunately. I have a lot of really big art assets. I can't use just one. So I kind of space everything out and I have all this data that I can use for whatever I need. So I keep a lot of my production assets backed up on Google Drive, and you have the ability to do that too. You're probably not going to use 7 accounts like me, but you're going to at least have one. So if you haven't signed up for Google Drive, you can do that via this link right here. But generally, I think most people have a Google Drive account, so you don't have to make one for LA Film School. If you've got a previously existing Google account that you've already been using for a couple of years now, there's no need to make a new one. You can keep the one you've got. But if it happens to be full and you're running up against that 15 gigabyte limit for a free account, you can feel free to start a new one and use that one specifically for school. So Walker has 5 Google accounts. So you know my struggle. It sometimes you just need a lot. You need a lot more data. So after you've signed in, you'll want to add folders so you can begin organizing and adding your images, pictures, links, and documents. So this is kind of what we're having you do with Google Drive. You're going to be creating folders. You're going to be populating those folders with files that you already have on your computer so that you can back them up on the cloud, a backup platform. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be creating a Google Drive folder for at least 3 major topics from this list. So we're going to go over these topics. And now before I go through these, if you see like a topic title that you don't like, but you kind of want to cover that topic for your folder, feel free to change the names of the folders to whatever you want them to be. This is first a benefit to you. Second, something we're going to give you feedback on. Create an online organizational platform using Google Drive that assists you because we're going to give you a grade on it, but you're going to be using this beyond the first week of class, hopefully. So definitely create something you want to use. So the topics that we have available to you that you're by no means limited to are school notes, personal to do, work to do, creative goals, creative ideas, project resources, industry resources, and wildcards. Okay, so example of wildcard choices. So wildcard is going to be the one where you can kind of cover whatever you'd like. And some of the examples, by no means are you limited to these, are photography, film critics that you like, music websites that you frequent, event management websites or industry publications, favorite directors that you might have, or favorite movies, favorite games, gift ideas, travel plans, story ideas, video game character names, whatever you want to use this for, you can use this for. This is for your benefit. And we have a sample Google Drive folder that you guys can view right here. I'm going to go ahead and link that for you guys here. Let me know if that doesn't work. I'm going to click it just to make sure. Yeah, okay, it does work. Perfect. So this is essentially an idea of what we're looking for you to deliver. You can see our folders here. We've got creative ideas, DJL notes, favorite video games, and we've got a couple of different things in here too, right? And then this gives you an idea of what we're looking for you to construct for your specific folders on your Google Drive for this assignment. So let's go ahead and go back here to the instructions. So for part 1, so if you want to leave that document open, this kind of gives you a visualization of what we're looking for you to deliver. So for part 1, you will create a Google Drive folder, or G Drive folders, excuse me, containing information, ideas, and resources in the form of manually typed text files and lists, as well as uploaded documents, images, and links. Now, you can do any combination of these. If you don't see something on here that you're using for Google Drive, by all means, reach out to your instructor. We'll let you know if it works. And for you will share some of the folders to practice collaboration in a professional manner, and you will practice color coding and titling your folders to make them easier to find and utilize later. So this is what we're going to be doing for part one. This is essentially what you're going to be seeing in that little link where you view the sample Google Drive. Those are the folders that we're asking for you to put together. So step one is going to be creating a public shareable folder for at least 3 topics that you've selected from the list above. So I've got an example Google Drive open here, so I'm going to go over this process for you very shortly. So if we want to create a brand new folder, we've got a lot of different ways we can do that. We can click the new button here, or we can right click, and this is me using a Mac, so if you're on a PC, this should be the same, but if you're using a tablet or a phone, this process might be a little bit different, but it should be similar. But you want to create a new folder, and now we can name the folder. So let's go with favorite movies, just as an example. And we can create that folder here. Let's go ahead and give it a color, so we can change it to, let's go with this pastel blue here. That's a nice color. And now we can go inside this folder that we've made. So that covers step one. We've created a public shareable folder for at least 3 topics. So we've already got 4 topics in here, so just making 1 is okay. And we've given it a clear, unique title and a unique color. So we've got that going on too for our favorite movies folder. So now for step 2, we're going to add at least 4 files. So we can add documents, images, video, or audio clips. By no means are you limited to these. These are just a couple of examples. Into each color-coded folder. And you want to give each file a clear file name that gives you an idea of what it is. For example, school-to-do list.doc or biopicture.jpg. So let's go ahead and demonstrate that process. So we're going to go into our favorite movies folder, and we're going to go to our sample files here. And we've got some artwork in here. We've got some meeting store notes, team demo meeting notes. These don't have much to do with favorite movies, but this is just an example of how to upload files to your Google Drive. So what you're going to do is you're going to select your files that you want to include. So we're just going to select 1 document, 1 image, another document, and 1 more image. So we've got 4 here. You're going to drag and drop to your Google folder, and that's all it takes. If you've got larger files like audio or video files, this uploading process might take a couple of more minutes. It might take 30 or 40 minutes depending on how big your assets are, but you can see here at the very bottom here, 42 megabytes of storage used. I've definitely got a lot more available to me. I believe it's 15 gigabytes for a free Google account, but paid ones definitely give you a lot more. And yes, Brett, it is fairly easy and straightforward to upload your files to Google Drive. I'll do that process one more time. So we're going to take our meeting, store notes, and 1 more image and drag those in here. And just like that process was before, we upload those files. We can close this dialog box if we want to, and then come back out here. We've got our favorite movies folder with our files inside of it. So that covers part 2. So we've got our files that are properly named. Let me go make sure that. So we've got them properly named so we know what they are. And now for step 3. Kenyatta, you should be able to do this on your phone. I just want to make sure that you understand that what you're seeing here is done on a MacBook Pro, so that some of the functions are going to be in different locations depending on the phone that you're using. So if you're using iOS or an Android, that might even be different in terms of how the layout is. So I do want to caution you that everything you're seeing here, you can absolutely do on your phone. I can't account for where different buttons or icons might be, unfortunately. But if you do have questions, make sure you reach out to your instructor and just show us screenshots of what you see, and we can kind of come up with a comparison and make sure that you get your work in correctly and on time. So Brett says that you can do it on phone. It's a lot different. I wish it wasn't that way, but hopefully we can come up with a solution. So Kenyatta, again, if you run into any issues, just reach out to your instructor and we'll help you out. So we do have a couple of minutes left, so let's go ahead and power through the rest of this here. So make sure that you include at least 3 different types of content file in your folders for step 3. So kind of what we did here, we've got a our TF file, we've got a JPEG file here, and we've got a document, so that fits the criteria here. We've got 3 different files. So your folders may contain a typed text in a file, uploaded digital images or photos, voice memos, documents, or any other content format that you would like to upload to Google Drive. So we're not limiting you to any of the content examples that we've shown you here. If you've got different content files, so like say you got Sony Asset or Pro Tools or Photoshop files and you want to upload those, be our guest. That is completely fine. So don't feel like you're limited based on the file examples you see here. Now, for part 4, you definitely want to add the starred status to at least 3 of your files across your folders using the Add Star feature. This just allows you to search for your files a little bit easier. So I'm going to select 3 of our files here. I'm going to right click. Again, this may be different depending on your platform, but I'm going to add a star to these files. And you can see that I've got a lot of folders here. So it's going to be tough for me to kind of hunt down particular files. So if I have them starred, I can come down here to the starred status, and then I've got all 6 of my files here that are starred waiting for me. So I don't have to search them down. They're easily available to me. So that's just a tool to help you guys stay even more organized while using this organizational tool. So only 3 color-coded folders are required for this assignment, and they need to be shareable public links. They need to be available through shareable public links so that your instructor can view them and give you credit for work on this assignment. Now, if you don't want them to be public folders after the assignment's complete and you've gotten your grade, you can make them unshareable. You can turn that off. Then the Google Drive is completely yours. We're not going to be snooping or looking at it. It's all you. So just keep in mind that we need them to be publicly available for the purposes of our assignment so that your instructor can give you a grade. But after that fact, you can do whatever you'd like. All right, so here's what that process looks like. And I'm going to share this link in chat so you can see what this looks like from our end as instructors. So we've got our favorite movies folder here. I'm going to go back up to the top here. I'm going to right click on my folder. I'm going to get shareable link. So this is going to be not share, not the first one, but the second one. Get shareable link. We're going to click that. So anyone with the link can view this particular folder. I'm going to copy that and paste it in chat. And if you guys can click that link and open it and tell me if you see those files. Does that link work for you guys? Perfect. Perfect. So Eric, Taylor, David, that's exactly what we're looking for. So the submission that we're looking for that link. And here's what a completed assignment looks like after we go over the final criteria. So that's going to be step 5. So providing that public link so that we can have access to that folder is going to be step 5. Since I shared that in chat, you guys showed that it worked. Make sure that you do the same process. Let me do that one more time for you guys. You're going to right click on your folder. You're going to get shareable link, which is the second option. And then you're going to copy and paste that link. Let me do that one more time. That link right there. So that's what we're looking for each of your folders. And the final thing we're asking you to do, this is for step 6, in the same document where you share your file, your shared links, we want you to include a written explanation in 1 to 3 paragraphs describing your thoughts on how you use digital tools such as Google Drive to search, discover, collect, save, organize, retrieve, and or share information, ideas, and digital content. And we want you to explain how these tools will help you save time and increase efficiency in school, your career, and your personal life. And if you've already been using Google Drive or Google Documents, we'd also like you to explain how you use it and why you find it beneficial. And if you have any other digital tools for these purposes, go ahead and explain what those tools are, why you use them, and how you find them beneficial. And here's what that looks like all together. So, bam. So you've got your first name here. You've got your student name, your student number, excuse me. You've got the name of the assignment here, and we've got our paragraph, right? With paragraph 1, well, this is a couple of sentences, so this is about 2 paragraphs, but this is neatly arranged. It's clear, it's easy to understand, and we've got 1, 2, 3 shareable links. We can click on that link, and of course, sometimes you might see this. So what we've got to do is we got to request access or change our email address. What I would have to do is log into my LA Film School email address. That was my personal one. But again, Those are what the links look like. And let me go back to that file so we can see that one more time. So again, this is essentially a snapshot, general purpose of what we're expecting your submissions to look like. So don't upload compressed folders with your files in them to the LMS, because that is sometimes something that we see and we have to ask the student to kind of correct that and resubmit. Make sure that you include a Word document or a text document that has your first name, your last name, your student name, your paragraph about staying organized, and the 3 Google Drive links that are publicly available, so that when your instructor clicks on them, we can go and check to make sure that you've got your folders, you've got your files, and everything looks good, so we can give you that nice high score. And again, you want to make sure that you compress your document when you go ahead and submit that. So let's go over the compression method. So we're going to take this Word document right here. Let's just say that this is our assignment. We're going to right click on that and we're going to click compress. Now, if you're using a Mac, this should look familiar. If you're using a PC, some of the word verbiage might be a bit different. It might say archive, it might say zip. You might have a couple of different options available, but this is going to be generally how you compress your documents, and then you're going to submit that compressed document as a zip file or an RAR file, because we do see those from time to time, to your 1.4 Digital Tools for Industry Professionals activity. This is going to be where you submit it. As you can see here, I've got a couple of submissions already, so we've got some students who are ahead of the game, but that is going to be due this coming Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. Pacific time. And this is the rubric that we're using to assess you. It's going to be 60 points, 30 points, 10 points. 60 points is going to be relevance and thoroughness, making sure that you cover all the material that we're asking for you to cover in terms of completing your paragraph, making sure you have those shareable links. Clarity and organization, making sure that your paragraph about digital organization and organizational strategies is clear, easy to read, and making sure that you run spell check so that there are no major errors. We can clearly understand your writing and that you've got all the ideas in a format that is understandable and easy for us to assess. So that's what we're looking for. And at the very end of the instructional document here is an FAQ on how to do everything I just showed you in the demo. So everything that we've seen here. So creating those new folders, making sure that you name your folders, making sure that you star your folders. Here's how to share your links and what that's supposed to look like. So using the instructions at the very end, there's an FAQ that's going to give you all the hints you need to make sure that you successfully turn this in. However, if you have any specific questions, if you need to reach out for your instructor, something's a little unclear, you're not sure if your submission is where you need it to be, we're more than happy to provide that guidance. Okay, so this is going to be where the recording ends. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.